Now, here is something interesting for you to think about. This is sometimes called myomas. It is popularly known as fibroids. These are non cancerous tumors that grow in and around a woman's uterus. Sometimes people who experience this condition don't even know that they have fibroids. In other cases, they worry about the symptoms that are glaring. And these range from painful periods, heavy flow, sometimes constipation, pain at the back, low back pain, bleeding, all sorts of symptoms. But then it comes to a time when people get pushed to the wall and they can't take it anymore. Then they opt for either myomectomy or hysterectomy. Our guest today is here to discuss her fibroid and hysterectomy journey. You find this fun and interesting. Welcome to My Period Stories. I'm your host, Funke Treasure. You're watching My Period Stories. I'm your host, Funke Treasure. And I have in the studio with me today someone very dear to me, a media and development communication specialist, a media trainer, a public health communicator, a public speaker, shall I go on, a creative writer, and the director of SPMC's My Period, My Pride radio drama series. I'm happy to welcome Adebisi Adetunji to My Period Stories today. Hey.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
I am more excited than you. Wow. Look at where we are.
Really? Yeah. We've come a long way.
Thank you for coming. We're talking about fibroids. You've had a hysterectomy procedure. And I know that you also have a book, Fighting Fibroids, My Bold Step to a Hysterectomy. This is the book. And I had the honor of reviewing the book at your book launch, isn't it?
Yeah. It's still fresh in my memory. It was an exciting and interesting time.
Yeah, there's some things you wrote in here. One wouldn't think
you won't let us. You won't let it go.
Okay, I'm not going to jump the gun, but hysterectomy is a big step, is a courageous, let me use the word courageous step for a woman to take. Walk me through what went on in your mind when you decided on taking this step.
Yeah, it was a decision I had to make with my husband, and I was even dragging, and he was all about me being healthy and fine, because we had gone through the journey of the very heavy blood flow, menstrual flow, the times when I had stomach pain, cramps, the season of when I was pregnant with our two kids, the whole stress. They were very very problematic, pregnancy period for me. And so he was like, I mean, if this is what will get you your health back, why don't you go ahead with it? So my concern became, because this is about, removal of the uterus. It was total. I did total. So it meant
total removal. The way people understand is that you removed your womb.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Yeah,
because there are two different. There are two procedures. One is a myomectomy. They take out the lumps, the fibroid lumps. I'm not a doctor, so I'm just going to use the layman
So for
thing.
hysterectomy,
yeah,
I mean, this made me to know a little bit about it. I think there are two types: the total and partial.
Right.
So the partial, they remove just the womb and leave the neck of the cervix, right? But when you do total, you are practically taking the two out, so you don't worry about cervical cancer or something like that. So if you choose to do that as a woman. So the whole idea about, getting my womb removed, it was a bit uncomfortable because it's like something like an organ in you is going to be removed. I wasn't sure of what that will mean in terms of because it meant there will be an onset of menopause immediately, instantly. So I wasn't sure what to expect. Then I was thinking of how will I deal with the hormonal, changes. I was scared of what will this all mean for me emotionally. What will it mean as it relates to intimacy with my husband? Will I feel the same? Then was it safe? Going through a lot, and then any surgery is a cause for concern, but when it has to do with your health, you go. So I had all of those concerns of what it will mean, what my life will be like after the hysterectomy. How will I deal with the emotions? Will I be the same? I had to deal with all of that. But what worked for me was, when I had made up my mind, because it was interfering with my normal day-to-day activities.
If you say it was interfering with your normal day-to-day activities, you mean that you were not able to function properly because of the pain?
Yeah. So my job requires that I travel a lot sometimes. And so when I'm on my period, it's heavy flow. I began to use I would use a pack of pad in a day. Yes.
That's severe.
Yeah, I would use a pack.
I mean, I've heard of people who finish a pad in, 3 days, 2 days.
No.
In when it is, that's a pack of 8.
Yes, because it's heavy flow that comes. Sometimes I had to leave the office, you are stained. I just take a bolt, and I'm off back at home. I take permission from my supervisor. I have to be back at home. And when I'm traveling and it falls within my period time, that's a psychological and emotional trauma for me, because I'm literally packed, afraid, entering the airports. Sometimes I'm in the airports, mostly I'm in the airports, entering the airport bathroom, checking myself. Wow. And sometimes, even with all of that, I am soaked. There's nothing I can do about it. So you see me carrying either a cardigan or something just to manage,
to tie around in case.
And usually the in case happens, really, because like the vehicle that would take me from where I land to maybe my location, my destination. Sometimes I've had very embarrassing situation where the car seat is all stained, and I have to start apologizing to the driver. And, of course, some of them are gracious. A lot of them are gracious. They are also pitying you, empathizing with you. So it was, and then I got to this time when I could literally see the fibroid moving. It was bigger. I went to do a scan. When it all started, when I was having when I was pregnant with my son, that was when I discovered I had fibroids. It was just about 2 or 3. And by the time, at the time when I had to really, really make up my mind to go for the hysterectomy, I went for a scan. They said, "Oh, madam, you have 8 fibroids in you." I said 8. That's just, my heart just went.
Yeah, but that was, they were just being alarmist.
No.
Could be 8 small ones.
Not
there
small.
Could be 8 big ones, or one big one.
No,
and,
mine were big, because I'm on the slim side. You would not know, but I know my clothes started to get, when I wear certain clothes, my stomach started to bulge out. When I'm lying down, the fibroid is actually moving like a baby. And then I had to go to the toilet in the night, go to the loo in the several times.
It made you pee quite more frequently.
And then the pain, it started to be painful.
Right. So while you were talking, the question that jumped at me was, didn't it occur to you that, okay, if I removed this womb, I'm going to be tampering with what God has put in, how God has made me? That religious drawback, am I still a believer in God?
Am I still a whole human being?
Yes. Did that occur to you?
Well, I think maybe because of my job and level of exposure, I kind of had some information that all of that didn't matter. I've had women who felt, they have now become a half human being by that. But I know that when it comes to your health, right? It Getting your womb removed does not make you look at me. I mean, all of my worries. Just look at me.
Well,
So I did it. It wasn't an issue. I think what my concern was more of how it will affect me emotionally, hormonal, relational,
yeah.
just so it wasn't about whether I'll be a whole or normal human being. It crossed my mind. I mean, you are a human being, but it just didn't really matter because I knew that beyond that, my health and my well-being was much more important. And
Right.
it doesn't make me less of a human being. I'm not a half human being. I'm still whole.
Good to know that you're not
Yeah.
half a human
Yeah.
being.
So
Right. Another question that jumped at me was about the stigma of it, having to walk around, especially after writing your book and walking around knowing that people are looking at you and saying, that one, our womb has been removed. You know the
yeah.
way we are
Yeah,
culturally.
I know,
Did that
right?
occur to you as well?
Yeah, that was a struggle. I actually wrote this book going through the procedure.
Yes.
Because I was documenting day by day. When I started visiting my doctor, my consultant again, my gynecologist, the whole process of visiting him, the counseling. Then I started to write seriously from like as soon as maybe a few days after my surgery, when I got back home, because I wanted to be able to document how I felt, what I had to go through, how I managed it, how I walked through it. So you when you read the book, you find out that I was writing in detail so I don't forget. So I finished writing. My whole aim of writing the book is I wanted other women to understand what hysterectomy was all about, to understand what to expect, to understand how to deal with it, because it's a whole lot of preparing. I had to prepare myself mentally, emotionally. I had to prepare myself in terms of physically. I started to take supplements so that I'm strong enough to go, because it's a major procedure. I had to, talk with my family. I had to talk with my boss, to take time off work. In fact, I had to prepare what I call, because I'm a person of faith, I had to take time out to actually pray. I had Bible verses that I was
I know,
quoting for
reading
all
your
of that.
book,
Yeah.
I came across the
Yeah, so
scriptures you had,
yes,
put
those were the
together.
things I used to prepare. Because I had to prepare myself. Really, I think it was more of a mental and emotional preparation. You have to be in a good space to be able to go through it. So that occurred. And when I finished writing this, I struggled with even taking it to publishing it.
Right, let me stop you there. Let's go on a break. When we come back, I'm going to be asking Adebisi about the stigma, the fear, the shame, and much more. I have one critical question to ask you when we come back after the break. You're still watching My Period Stories with me, Funke Treasure. Now, Adebisi, I don't think a lot of people will forgive me if I do not ask you this question. And it's that if you didn't have children, would you still have opted for hysterectomy, given what you had experienced with fibroids?
I think it might have been difficult to make that choice. I would probably have had to try other means of solving my fibroids problem. But I have met some people who do not have children, and because it is impeding on their well-being and it is life-threatening, they have had to, go ahead with it and look at other options of having children instead. There are so many, technology has made that, giving us some level. I've kept trying, looking at my other options of, a myectomy, as it is said, maybe cutting it out. But the idea of hysterectomy was because, again, if you cut it out, like in layman's terms, it grows back. So
Yeah,
yeah,
because I
so
mean, I
that's
have
the
done, let me be honest and let me be upfront with everyone. I have done a myomectomy twice. It means that I cannot do it a third time.
yeah,
It means that, I mean, that's the bus stop. If
Yeah.
you're not getting any other thing done, that's it. You have to live with the symptoms and the challenges until you get to menopause.
Yeah.
Okay, so, and then I've also met someone who did a hysterectomy as a single person without children. So, I mean, what we're talking about on my period stories today is a very important, a very significant journey for a lot of women out there. Many women are on this table, as we say in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And you never know unless people tell you. Okay, so, but when it comes to having to make the choice of totally getting rid of your womb so that you can have peace inside of your body and you can live a more meaningful life, and then becomes, a really precarious one to make. Whether you're single or you're married, especially for the single. And that's why I asked you the question if you weren't.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you'd be wondering, I can still have a child.
Yeah.
Don't let me remove it yet. Aside from that, there's a lot of shaming and fear linked to fibroid as well. There's the fear of, not getting married, or the fear of, what if my husband still wants to have more children? I mean, I know in Yoruba land we say don't count children for the owner of children.
Yeah,
Basically, but you had the buy-in of your husband and indeed your entire family, as you've written in your book. But did you nurse the fear of, maybe this man wants more children, and now that I've removed this womb, what if he goes to take a second wife, or he pulls something and then somebody gets pregnant for him outside the marriage?
Well, that didn't even cross my mind. So it depends on the kind of relationship you have with your spouse. That did not at all. I think what I was more worried about was what the extended family would think. Because again, I wasn't planning to be quiet about it. I had written a book, a memoir, as it were, and I wanted to publish it with the intention of helping other women know what to do, how to handle it. Also help the men too. If your spouse or your partner has to undergo a hysterectomy, how do you manage it? How do you help her? How do you walk through it together? So the problem was more of what the extended would think,
because a huge factor in
Yes,
African culture,
yes,
in
yes.
marriages
So
as
it
well.
was more of what the extended would think. One, then I was like, now I'm telling my story. A lot of people now like, oh, she doesn't have a womb, So that I
Precisely.
struggled with that. Then my husband is kind of like a very private person, unlike me, maybe because I'm a media person. I'm a very, we are communicators and all of that. So he was a bit, he didn't want his matter out there in this space.
So he wasn't quite sure about this book part of it.
Yeah. So he was okay with the hysterectomy. He was like, no, I don't want people in my business. So we had to walk through and talk through it. And I had to explain to him why I'm doing this. Because again, one of the challenge for me was you don't have anybody talking about this openly.
That's right.
So I had to do a lot of digging. I had to read a lot online. How is the procedure done? What happens to me? How will I feel? What is the duration of recovery? What are the complications that could come? I had to dig by myself. And I even have to watch a video of the procedure because I just needed to know what I was, going into and what I was putting myself into. So for me, it was a lot of looking around for the information. And then, in Africa, I was just seeing Oyinbo people online talking about it. And then, the Oyinbo. So I wanted to what about people like myself, So it was a lot of digging for me. And those things helped me to know what to expect with menopause, to know what to expect with intimacy with my husband. We even read it together at some point. Ogbeni, come and see what's going to happen after this, So we had to dig and know how to deal with it. And that helped me. So I felt people are just grappling around and people are afraid to take steps. Hysterectomy is a big step, is a serious decision. But if that's what's going to save your life and, give you the quality of life, if your doctor says this is your last bus stop, then you should know what to expect, and you should know how, and it to help you to prepare emotionally, mentally, physically. Knowing just helped me.
Just realizing that this is irreversible. Once it's done, you can't say, "Oh, excuse me, doctor, I changed my mind.
Yeah.
I can we?" It's just so irreversible. And I like what you've written here. You said fibroid is found in women in the reproductive age group because the hormones that creates a woman's menstrual cycle are also the elements that these fibroids depend on to grow.
Yeah.
So if watching us, you're wondering, okay, what has fibroid to do with menstruation, or what has it got to do with my period story? This is someone's period story, right? And it's beyond just having periods. It's also about dealing with all kinds of period condition. So our work at the Sanitary Pad Media Campaign is not just about looking for access to sanitary pads for young girls and low-income women. It's also about normalizing the period conversation. You heard our guest say there were no people like her. She had to dig and dig and dig to find the kind of knowledge, the information she needs to deal with this condition and deal with the prospect of having a hysterectomy. So this is instructive for us, and I hope that someone has learned something, is more hopeful, is more courageous, and is willing to take the leap of faith, if you have to do a hysterectomy. On the cover page of your book, I see you with boxing gloves. Boxing gloves, like this is not a small matter.
It's not a small matter.
I punch you. Fibroid, you punch me, I punch you back.
Wasn't. I kid you not, it wasn't a small matter.
So post the surgery, how do you feel now? It's about how many months, how many years
I'm
after?
I'm going to 2 years now.
Right.
Yeah, I did it on Children's Day, 27th April. This year, would I say it was 2 years or something? Yeah, 2 years. So, yeah, post, I needed to heal. It took time. I needed to take things easy, but I'm in a good place. I'm not worrying about, number one, no menstruation again.
Like, yay!
Yeah, that's number one. Number two, I'm not thinking of any birth control thing again. So intimacy is, my husband is happy. He's in a happy place.
And that is very important.
Yeah. So those are the two things. And then my quality of life, I feel healthier because it was a lot of emotional baggage and physical stress. I'm going to work now. If I'm traveling, I don't have to think, oh, does this thing fall? Look, checking my calendar, is it going to fall on my menstrual day, this trip I'm going to have? And I'm at work, I don't have to rush home to say, oh, please excuse me, I can't continue working in the office today. Let me go and work from home. So I'm in a good place. And the other thing I would like to just say is, because it kickstarts menopause. Again, you have to understand how menopause works, how your body the changes, the hot flushes, and how to deal with it. And then I think it's also important that couples understand what menopause is, how the woman will be feeling, what you can do as a woman to make your intimacy easier, to take care of frigidity. And I'm fine. I'm happy.
And you're in a happy place. Your
Yes.
husband is in a happy place.
Yeah.
Well, let me just say the entire family wrote this book.
Yeah.
Because you find the voice of the husband there and the voice of the children as well.
Yeah.
I think my favorite part of the book will have to be the 8th chapter, where you talked about fighting along with love, how my family members coped. This is a book everyone should have if you have to consider a myomectomy like I did, or a hysterectomy as our guest Adebisi Adetunji did. Get this book, read it, and get informed. So thank you very much for coming. The prevalence of fibroids in Nigeria is higher than global statistics because the incidence of fibroid It's between 51.9% for women between 26 to 35 years old and 46% between 36 to 45 years old. 20 to 25% of women within reproductive age have fibroids. That's the grim reality. By age 50, 80% of Black women and 70% of white women suffer fibroids. Black women experience fibroids at a younger age than whites. That's the reality of the life of a Black woman. I'd like to thank you very much for coming to
Thank
the
you
program
so much
today.
for having me.
We have a gift for you. I hope we can get some people to win your books when we promote this. This is what it looks like.
This is so
from us
lovely.
to
My
you.
own SPMC Sanitary Pad Media Campaign pillow. I'm going to cherish this.
Thank you
so
very much. And thank you for being our director and scriptwriter and producer
And
of
all and
of it.
everything.
Gosh. Working on our radio drama series, My Period, My Pride, was such a breeze with you.
I enjoyed working on that production. I was happy with the results and the feedback that we got, after I started running. And I was happy that somebody somewhere out there was getting the needed message on, menstrual hygiene and all of that. But it was
Thank you.
great. I mean, I'm at my best and my elements when we are doing production, the storytelling. Then we start to take sides with the cast, the art, the drama cast.
Yes.
Some characters. It was fun.
Thank you
And thank you for the
much.
privilege to work with you on that production as well.
Thank you so much. It was a joy working with you. And this is the point where I must thank the MacArthur Foundation also for supporting the drama series being on radio, both the production and the airing of the series on radio. We're coming back at you with part 2. So there you go.
Let me go and brace up.
Thank you very much for joining us on My Period Stories today. Let's do this again next week. I'm Funke Treasure.